Hey guys, Michael Furlonger here, author of God the Master of Sin and Satan the Beautiful, and founder of ChristianWritersBookstore.com. The links will be in the description below. I'm working on a new project where I get to sit down with different Christian writers and bloggers and YouTubers to see what they're working on, see how God is using them. So last night I did an interview with an author named Britt Nelson. He is joined with a filmmaker named Nick Alexander in Costa Rica. They're working on bringing Britt's book to the big screen. Before I get into this, I want this kind of like a public service announcement. If you have any maybe like children present, maybe you want to wait to watch this at a later time. Britt's book is called Bambi Angelina, Costa Rica's #1 hooker. So yes, it addresses prostitution. The girls, as he shares in his story and in his testimony, the girls that get into this type of a profession in Costa Rica and other places in Central and South America are often around the age of 14, but can be as young as 12. So again, if you have children present, you might want to wait till they are asleep to address this. And if you are wondering why is this on Christian Writers Bookstore, we did discuss it. The story of Bambi Angelina is a story of rebirth, of renewal in her life. She felt empty despite her successes. Financial successes, that is. She felt very empty in this, and so anyways, I will let you just watch the interview and decide for yourselves. I hope you guys enjoyed the interview.
Yep. All right. Well, hello everyone. As Michael said, my name is Nick Alexander. I'm a filmmaker in Oregon, in the United States, and recently I finished my first feature film, a documentary. I was the director, DP, and editor of that film. It's called Illegal, and I've done dozens of other film projects over the last 5 years, running a video. Excited for this next major film production, a narrative, which is a first for me. I'm eager to begin the screenplay and eventually direct this film. So there's a little backstory about me from Oregon, filmmaker, and yeah, excited for this project.
Hey, this is Britt Nelson here. I came down to Costa Rica 11 years ago, retired, a news journalist, photojournalist, background, editor of the paper, all this. And I never thought I'd retire to Costa Rica and end up writing a book about a hooker. But I did. Once I met this amazing woman, I knew she had a story. I didn't know what it was, but she had to have a heck of a story. So, I mean, this woman, if I had to describe her physically, it would be like Melania Trump. I'm serious. A beautiful woman, well-spoken, intelligent, multilingual, all of that. But she was a hooker.
So, Britt, can you take a moment to share a bit on your church upbringing and your testimony?
I was raised in the Episcopal Church. We were a church-going family. They weren't particular Bible thumpers, but we went. We knew why we were going to church. And I don't remember a time in my life when I wasn't walking with the Lord. I spent a lot of time with youth Christian groups out in Colorado. It's called Young Life. That was very, very influential in my life. I went 4 summers in a row to this wonderful Christian camp with kids all over the United States. That made a big difference in my life. Every morning we would get up early, We'd all meet together in the central place, and we would say our prayers, and we would count our blessings. And I do that every day now. So that's pretty much it. I love the Lord. Oh my gosh. He never ceases to amaze me. And what he pulled with this woman in this story, I mean, he saved her life. He made it happen. She was hating her life. She was dead inside. She was lost. Even though all of this money, she had suicidal thoughts. I mean, she hates her life back in those, she hates it. She runs from it. She wants nothing to do with it. That's, you're talking about, my preacher told me there are no survivors. I mean, there are no winners in Bambi's world, only survivors. And she's a survivor. Now, you can say what you want about the money, but, she was with more than 1,000 men, and only 9 of those men left her a bunch of dough.
Yeah, I do. I was blessed growing up in a Christian family out in Oregon on the West Coast. And ever since I was a little guy, my family, my parents, we would go to church. But it really, I think for me, when you mentioned testimony, I remember middle school, my pastor said something along the lines that you'll be the only Bible, you might be the only Bible someone ever reads. And it really got me thinking about my character, my actions, how I treat people. In the world in which we live in as Christians, oftentimes, we make the assumption that people know the Bible, they know the gospel, and sadly, most don't really get it. Some have never heard, or they might have a contrived view of Jesus and the Bible. So for me, back in middle school, I think the relationship with the Lord was created. It wasn't just a family religion per se, going to church, but it really became personal. And over the years, starting my second to last year in high school, some were mission trips, others were, studying abroad or immersion in Latin America. And what really happened is I changed as a person. God illuminated the world to me. It wasn't just the United States. There was so much more. And I got to meet some incredible Christian brothers and sisters. And so I'm fluent. I'm a fluent Spanish speaker today. I'm married to a Nicaraguan, that we met through, a mission trip. And then eventually I taught English in America. So, my testimony, God continues to expand my mind and my heart of where he can use me. I love language. I love working with people. And it's so amazing to see how I go from this guy who didn't speak a lick of Spanish to now a bilingual filmmaker. And only by being bilingual and having that, Latin culture, understanding it, that led me to my first film, and now it has led me to my second. So I'm extremely grateful for this opportunity, and I love the fact that as a filmmaker, I can glorify God through my work.
And we're going to do that. We are going to do it. We're going to do it. We got a plan.
That's awesome. We did a mission trip. I went with my mother when I was in my early 20s, and they tried to marry me off to a Nicaraguan, but it didn't work out. Next time I went back there like 2 years later, and the girl I was supposed to marry, she married someone else. So and I'm learning Spanish. My wife is Puerto Rican, so I had to learn Spanish to communicate with her family. So it's really difficult. So maybe I'll keep you guys in touch, and we'll learn some. You'll teach me some Spanish, because Duolingo is pain. Anyway, but I thank you very much for sharing your testimony. I've heard that before, that you that we Christians might be the only Bible that people ever read, and some people might be reading you, and you're reading the New Testament, the Gospels. People read me, they're going to get more of an Old Testament a law where, King David meditated on it day and night. So, but yeah, that's just a great attitude, and I definitely hope that you are able to use your influence to influence change in this arena. Now, so Britt, sorry. So I'm kind of curious, how did you come to decide to write this book? Were you just lying in bed one day and like, I'm gonna go to Costa Rica and write about a prostitute, or was there more of a process that went into it?
I met this girl in mid 2013 at a very infamous location here in Hako Beach, known for that sort of activity. She was in there, she came in there for lunch. She was just gorgeous. I mean, my gosh. It was as if a Victoria's Secret angel just floated into the bar, set up. Well, that led to a relationship between me and her that developed over time. I would see her again. We would talk more, blah, blah, blah. But then there was a turning point. There was that night when a Christian reggae group came to town called ChristianWritersBookstore. They are fantastic. They got the conga drums, man, the saxophones, they got the horns, they got the bass, they got the keyboard, and they're loud and they're exciting. Well, I was there that night. And she was there, and nobody planned this. She was there with her new guy that saved her life and that killed off Bambi so Angelina could live. He took care of that. God sent him to her. And it ends up, this guy's the only boyfriend she ever really had. You'd be with 1,000 men and not have a real boyfriend? How screwed up in life is that? Anyway, be that as it be. After that night, in that concert, the whole church was full, and it's a good-sized church. There must have been 600 or 700 young people in there. And I'm talking 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, that age group. And they were, all the arms were up, and they were praying, music was going on. It was so cool. But then they kind of quiet things down a little bit. And the lead singer, the preacher, Mark Moore, he is inviting the children up on stage. Accept the Lord. Come forward. Come up with us. Hold hands. And the stage was full. Well, Angelina and her new guy, with tears and just holding hands or hanging on to each other, they walked up that stage. They walked up those steps. An amazing sight. And they were hanging on to each other. And they realized how all of this happened. It was the Lord that put them together, saved her life. And there you go. And it was after that, when she committed her life to Christ, and he did too, that she really wanted me to tell her story. She wanted to spread the good news. She doesn't want anything to do with the story. She wants no part of it. She wants no recognition or reward. So I am telling her story for her, of her redemption from all of this ugly life, and her forgiveness, and a life fulfilled. And she's living now in a nice Christian man, an abundant life. What can I say? It just went on and it progressed. And, it didn't take me long to realize I was working with one of the best stories I've ever come across.
Awesome. And Nick, how did you get involved in this project?
Yeah, almost, let's see, 2018. So almost 3 years ago, Britt actually found me online on a Facebook, a Christian filmmaking group page, and he reached out to me, talked a little bit about this possible movie project, and
But you had on in your bio that you were looking for projects in Central America. You had that on there, and your email was right there too. So that made you an easy target.
Yeah,
so I got in touch with him.
He wasn't actually the first. Like I said, I had created and directed a documentary, and actually goes all the way back to college, where people would ask me, what do you want to do with your life? What's your big dream? And I said I want to make a documentary in Latin America. And so that happened, actually. Like I said, the movie Illegal, it was shot in 2019 and then later edited, and it went on the film festival circuit, still is, here in 2021. And so, that was and still is, a huge ambition of mine. Of course, it was achieved through Illegal, but now Bambi's here, and that's exciting. So going back to Britt, we met online on Facebook, and I got to visit him 3 years ago to, get to know him a little bit, hear about the story. We're, initiating the screenplay for this movie.
Yeah, we worked on it last night till midnight, and I took him around and meet people today. It was a smell the Bambi flowers day. So, but all these people that could be possibly in the film, and some really good choices, I think. And we took a few pictures of them and blah blah blah, and we checked out some locations for shooting. Beautiful tropical sites on the beach, the water, the tropicals.
So you mentioned something, Britt, when you were answering the last question, is that during the concert, Bambi died and Angelina lived, and I was really confused about that. So I was wondering if you could kind of explain what you meant by that.
That happened at breakfast one morning at a beachfront restaurant at a hotel. Bambi came walking in with a man who was physically, verbally abusing her in front of everybody. And it was bad. Wouldn't let her go to the bathroom. It was bad. Now, I wasn't there. She told me about all this. And sitting some distance away was a man. He was a firefighter from Jamaica, Hispanic. And he saw what was going on. He saw the Christian cross around her neck. And he knew what he had to do. And he did. He gets up gently from the table. He starts walking toward them. And he picks up his pace. And he gets close to the table. And Bambi sees him coming. And she backs up. And this guy was a real jerk. I mean, I could have all kind of choice words for that guy. But he was just a real jerk. And so this firefighter, I mean, this is a stout man. He's no little guy. And he rushes the table. He flips the table over. And he punches this guy out about 3 or 4 times. And he's on the ground. He's out. Face all bloodied up, right there. And it was violent. And she's over here. And this man, who in the book, in the story, his name is Roberto. He takes one look at her. And he says, "We have to go now. Don't worry, I have a car. It's all over." And it was. She leaves with the guy. She's hysterical. She's crying. She's a mess. She's falling apart. But as they walk out of the parking lot, she reaches down and takes his hand. And they get in a car and they leave. That's how that happened. That's when Angelina lived. was when she went with him, and she's still with him now. That was the Lord who had answering her prayers. I want out. I don't want to do this life anymore. I can't stand it. But you know, you get addicted to money. It's one of those things.
That's an amazing story. And you mentioned something that I think so many of us can relate to, is this addiction to money. Is that her story is unique, of course, but we all start making these compromises. We love the money, we love the fame, we love the gifts, whatever it is, right? And but yeah, so I'm glad that she was able to get out of that lifestyle, that she was able to meet this man, and that they're happy together. So as I was saying, yeah, getting into the money and stuff, you really like it. And I was concerned about sharing this, doing this video, this interview. Can you share a bit on like the dark side of the lifestyle, I guess?
Well, down here, I have learned the grandmothers and mothers and their daughters, they've all been prostitutes. It's part of the culture. That to me is pretty dark. This is what you do. You hit the streets. I don't like anything about prostitution. I like none of it. I don't like it at all. And many of my friends chase these women all the time. They're still my friends. I love my friends. And I see this activity going on all the young girls. Are we still on? Okay. See this activity going on all the time. But it breaks up the family unit. You don't have a mom and dad and the grandmothers and the mothers are raising the children that come from the daughter, and it just keeps going on and on. It's just on and on. And they work in bars and they meet men in bars. They don't make much money in the bars, but when you set up a date for when you get off, and you go off with some guy and make $100 or whatever it is, it is a dark life. But there's not a lot of good jobs here. This is a tourist town. It's a trap. But I love it here. I love Jaco Beach. You know, I absolutely love living here. It's a fun town. But anyway, there is a dark side. Last year, very quick, just right after the Super Bowl, I was at my local pub, I guess you'd call it. And about 30 minutes after the Super Bowl ended, I left to walk home. And I go down the street a little bit, and it's dark. And I'm in front of a hotel. And I swear, this girl couldn't have been more than 12 years old. She came up to me, grabbed my hand, and tried to pull me into the hotel. Now, I've raised 4 kids. I know what 12 years old looks like. I mean, I pulled back, of course. I'm not going to go, absolutely not. But I said no. I said, she never did say a word. She was patting herself on her chest and with one hand and pulling me, trying to get me in the hotel. I couldn't believe it. I was shocked. That's the first time that I've ever encountered a 12-year-old, this sort of situation. That's pretty dark, if you ask me. And that was like recently. So last year. I haven't seen it since, but that's pretty dark. And the girl I wrote about, she had suicidal thoughts. She was so sick of what she was doing, and she lost her soul, and she was dead inside, and she was lonely. She was with all these men, and she's lonely. She got all this money, and she's lonely and thinking of suicide. That's pretty dark. But then Roberto came along. It was as if the Lord just reached down with his hand and pushed him out of his chair and go, stop this. Go stop this abuse. She wants out.
Nick, so you weren't really in the all this, but maybe could you share a bit on your other movie, Illegal, on what that's all about?
I, of course, came here to Costa Rica a few years ago, and Britt was at the time, finishing his book, and now it's ready to go. It's exciting to see his success, and of course I'm eager to begin the screenplay. But as far as my first feature film is concerned, it's called Illegal, and it's a documentary about a Salvadoran immigrant and his life or death journey to the American dream. He, Laz Ayala is his name, Laz Ayala. He was living in El Salvador in the 80s. Historically speaking, that was Civil War. And a lot of, tens of thousands of people were killed. I think 1.5 million Salvadorans left, immigrated to the U.S. during that time. And Laz was one of them.
And he was 14.
And he was 13 years old, and he crossed from Tijuana, Mexico, in the trunk of a car. Hence, the name of the movie is Illegal. But it was really a pleasure to film. We went to El Salvador, Guatemala, Mexico, Southern California, where he grew up as a teenager, and then finally Southern Oregon, where he reasonably is a land developer, which it just is such an inspirational story. What someone can do who works hard, is given opportunity, fleeing for his life, and now is giving back to his community in Oregon. So I was the director of that film. The movie Illegal is currently in the final process to be commercially distributed. So if people do want to learn more about that film, learn more about my filmmaking, I would love to receive their inquiries and questions and comments. Probably the best is just at my email, nickalexanderfilms@gmail.com. And of course, on my website, there's links to my work, notably my first feature film, Illegal. 12, actually.
How many?
12.
Okay, well, now I'm finding out he's up to 12 awards at film festivals during 2020. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, definitely, Nick. We're gonna, I'm gonna get all the information from you, and it's gonna be in the description. If you watch this on YouTube, I'll be in there. Britt, I hope that you keep me posted with everything that's going on. I really want to wish you two luck in doing this video. Hey guys, thank you for watching this video. If you are interested in this book, the link will be in the description below. As the years roll out, we're working on some new stuff. As always, I'm wearing a muscle shirt that says ChristianWritersBookstore.com. You can go to the merchandise section and get this, get one with a t-shirt, long sleeve t-shirt, a hoodie. But also this year, you can customize it. If you want to customize it with your own book cover, what I did was I got a mug and I put my book cover on it. That's Assurance of Salvation, one of my books. You can check that out if you want. But yeah, you can buy them as they are. You can customize something the way that you'd like it. Put something from one of your books if you're one of the writers, or any writer. So I just want to let you guys know that that's available. Anyways, I hope you guys have a good day, and God bless. Bye now.